Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this video we will talk about why nobody lives in upstate New York. However, before we start our countdown, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. So let's get started. First off, let's just get right to it. The most relevant and timely reason you shouldn't move to New York is the recent crisis that gripped the city. A huge number of people who got sick in America were in the New York City area. There are many obvious reasons why NYC got hit so hard. The city's strength is its ability to congregate masses of people into small areas, trading floors, convention centers, restaurants, and hotels. Now it's New York City's biggest vulnerability. But it's the aftermath that's the biggest challenge here. How will New York City recover from the economic impact of the health crisis of 2020? There isn't a real plan. Everything's in flux, but people are stuck. There's the emotional toll that's gripped the city. Who's going to feel comfortable going out into large crowds now? How many people have been accustomed to just staying home? And even when this thing passes, another one will be in the back of people's minds. The economy's shot to hell. It's going to take an estimated 4 years to get New York back to the way it was. Many businesses will never open back up again. As such, property owners and leasing companies are going to suffer from a lack of tenants as people flee. Which brings us to before this whole thing went down, people were already leaving here. The city lost 78,000 people last year, which is the equivalent of the whole city of Camden, New Jersey in 1 year alone. You want to be late to the party? Probably not. Where are they going? The rich people who still need to be nearby are fleeing to the Hamptons or Connecticut, or even gasp upstate, or even more often these days. Some of the losses are so extreme, people need to reinvent their entire businesses. And it's not just US natives who are not moving to New York or who are leaving New York. Immigrants are also slowing their arrival here. That's helped further New York's population decline. New York attracted just 46,000 migrants last year, which was the lowest total in 10 years and the second lowest in 60 years. In New York, to live a decent life, you need to make much more than that. It's about $2,400 for a one-bedroom apartment, or perhaps a few hundred less for a studio, and it's way more than that. If you go from the squeeze-in areas of Queens to downtown proper in most American suburbs, $1,500 a month might get you a decent family-sized home here. That gets you a walk-in closet. That's one reason the homelessness here is so high, where 78,000 people are homeless. What's interesting about that number is, previously I said 78,000 people left New York. So people left the city last year, and New York has an estimated 78,000 people without homes. Everyone says they want affordable housing, but nobody wants it in their neighborhood. Taxes suck here. If you were to make $100,000 a year, you can expect to take home only about $67,000 after it's all said and done. And in 2017, New York made a state law that capped deductions on taxes too. When you go out, everything's really expensive. Drinks, coffee, food. Breakfast shouldn't cost $35 plus a tip. So the idea of moving to New York to experience everything might mean you actually might be able to do nothing. Who needs all this shopping in retail when you can shop online? Who needs live entertainment when you have Netflix, your cell phone, or YouTube? Will you really visit the Statue of Liberty or ride on the ferry or climb to the top of the Empire State Building? Probably not. That's tourist trap stuff, and if you move here, you'll get sick of the tourists very fast. Now, post-virus, the idea of living in a big city isn't as glamorous or necessary as it once was. People are beginning to see the advantages of working from home. Less commuting is very appealing now. Companies were at first reluctant to allow people to work from home, and have now realized workers are as productive as they once were, even from home. So you don't even really need to be in a big city. Especially this city. Clearly, the traffic in New York is the worst in the nation. Cabs are smelly, and the drivers are rude and drive dangerously. Subways are always crowded, and they're late or sometimes they don't show up at all. The buses suck. It takes forever to get anywhere here. It's pretty walkable once you get downtown, but you have to get there first, since you likely won't be able to afford living downtown. And when you walk around downtown, you get harassed for money, or pestered by tourists who want to know where things are. Before long, you're just walking around with your headsets in to ignore everyone. What's the point of that? And people in New York don't know how to walk. They're either too fast or too slow, or they walk too crooked. Need to run across town to get something at Home Depot to fix a leaky faucet. See you in about 5 hours. So if you don't ever go to downtown to experience the horrible commute and pesky sidewalk walkers, then what's the point of living here? There are certainly far more desirable suburbs in many less frantic cities. Move here and your quality of life will suffer tremendously. If you live near downtown, you can't have a dog, and you certainly don't have a yard. There's roaches and rats everywhere. The time spent waiting in lines is defeating. The time spent waiting at intersections is exhausting. Light and grass and space all around you are human needs. They make you happy and healthy. Those are missing here. Hardcore New Yorkers say they thrive on the chaos. They're in denial. They hate it too. Live in another borough and you get somewhat of a yard if you're lucky, but you'll still feel trapped and overwhelmed. So what's the point? There's a saying that silence is a cure for grief. The constant hammering, yelling, honking, truck tires slamming, banging, screeching, rumbling, talking, ringing, screaming, and crying is enough to make somebody lose their self. The cranes, the cabs, then your face attention demanding chaos is just defeating. You rarely hear the birds, you rarely hear your own thoughts. New York's politics have always been toxic and under a microscope. It seems that nobody is ever happy with the leadership here, except when Rudy or Ed Koch were in charge. Now, New York City is managed by Mayor Bill de Blasio, who isn't very popular. This chart shows that usually Democrats like candidates with name recognition. Except for a few people. De Blasio actually scored negative on polling of Democrats. He's actually come through on many of his promises, but people still don't like him. He's viewed as arrogant, stubborn, and preachy, and the media doesn't really like him either. The state's governor, Andrew Cuomo, is seen as whiny, helpless, and out of touch with most New Yorkers. At least that's what the media and New Yorkers say. So how are they going to balance a budget that's been decimated due to the health crisis? By cutting city workers and public employees, which means transportation and cops, which means even worse transportation and even more crime. Cuts to basic services may be so devastating that they'll undermine the quality of life in New York City. Anyways, you get sick of the endless political drama that goes on here, and you likely won't agree with any of it. Imagine living in a place where it's freezing but there's no snow, or it's sunny but there's still icy sidewalks, where the wind races down tunnels created from tall buildings, where it's gray for months at a time. And then you get sweltering summers which make the garbage smell even worse. Then it starts all over again. You can't get ahead here. People aren't very forgiving either. Your friends and colleagues and people who you'll meet will not empathize with you when you can't spend $5 to $6 a month on an apartment like they can, and when you have to keep turning down gatherings to drink and eat and go to poetry readings because you can't afford it. The self-pity will get worse and worse. There's something to be said about being tough, and tough people grow thick skin and become even tougher and more resilient, but people aren't going to help you here. They're struggling to survive here too. It's very reptilian. Survive or die. Saving money. No, this is a very short-term city. And how do you think the service workers feel? They can't afford to live in New York either, and they're waiting on you, which creates a weird dynamic. It's very shallow here. You'll soon grow tired of the daily frustrations, and all your patience will be depleted with your day-to-day setbacks, and you'll grow callous and self-serving, just like everybody else. If you have an ego, unless you're wildly successful, it'll be gone, and you'll watch all your friends and family everywhere else on Facebook and Instagram having a blast, while you're stuck in a shithole. So that's it. Some reasons why New York City sucks, and reasons why you shouldn't live there yourself. It's not the same city it once was, and probably will never be again. As people continue to leave, it's gonna change even more. Sure, New York's had its ups and downs, and right now it's going through a big down. So this was our today's video. I hope you all liked this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel, and also share it with your friends and family. We will be back soon with a new video. Till then, keep supporting and take care.